"Oh, you're the man," said the burly vice president of the fitness club, giving him a thumbs up. He smiled and left as well. They had come for the goddess, but they had seen her attitude. She was like a sealed bomb, completely docile for one person and one person only. There was no point in trying anymore. They had noticed Luna before, but she was rarely seen. They had chosen this time to approach her because fewer people would be paying attention after the semester ended, making it easier to show their concern and make a move. The show over, the gossip-hungry girls upstairs retracted their heads. Brianna and Felicity went upstairs too, not wanting to be third wheels. Cole took Luna's hand, and they began to walk aimlessly. He had something he wanted to say to her, but Luna spoke first. I want to apply to stay on campus for the break." Cole stopped and looked at her. Her clear, enchanting eyes were filled with apprehension, a touch of melancholy, and a hint of sorrow. She had no home to return to. The dorm was her only sanctuary. A pang of pain shot through Cole's heart. This was exactly why he had come. He deliberately put on a gruff voice. "Stay on campus for what? The Cole Chin fan club doesn't require you to stay on campus." But Luna thought of her hometown and didn't immediately grasp his meaning. "No buts." Cole raised his left index finger and gently lifted her chin, turning her face toward him. He looked deeply into her sad eyes. "You're the CFO of Headline today. Where do you think you're going for winter break? Besides, for New Year's, you have to be at the Cole Chin fan club." "The Cole Chin fan club? Is that in that apartment?" she asked, her chin still held by him, making her feel shy. Her mind was a little fuzzy, and her cheeks flushed red. "It's an apartment, but not the one I've taken you to before," Cole said, and then planted a quick kiss on her red lips. A fresh, fruity taste, each sip sweeter than the last. After the kiss, he swallowed, wanting another, but students were approaching from both directions. Cole had to restrain himself for now. It wasn't great to be putting on a free show in broad daylight. "An apartment I've never been to." Luna's peripheral vision caught sight of the approaching people, and her face turned a deep crimson. But she didn't pull away from his hand, letting her face rest in his palm like a flower. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light shot through her mind. It was so dazzling it instantly suppressed the darkness in the depths of her memory, illuminating every corner of her soul. But she wasn't sure. Was it real? Was it possible? She was a little scared. "When Headline today goes on break, you're coming home with me. You're my exclusive CFO. Where else would you go?" Cole feigned anger, gently pinching her cheek and squeezing her pretty mouth into an O shape. "Tell me, where do you want to go? Are you going to listen to me or not?" Luna trembled, her heart feeling as if it were enveloped in something soft and warm. It was so comfortable that tears welled up in her eyes. With her mouth pinched, she quickly shook her head, then frantically nodded. Teardrops spilled over, tracing paths down her cheeks. She had already mentally prepared herself to stay on campus alone. That rural village in West Virginia had become her hometown, but not her home. One of the conditions for her uncles to lend her money for college was the ownership of the old family house. Although she had already paid them back with her salary from Cole, the land would never be hers. It wasn't that they didn't value her admission to a top university, but the older generation running the village was more concerned with her getting married, either staying there or in a nearby town. Several wealthy and powerful men in town were already eyeing her. If it hadn't been for her high school homeroom teacher and principal fiercely protecting her, she would have been gone long ago. There was no way she could go back now. Luna had never imagined Cole would say this. She just wanted to be with him, to go wherever he went. But during the new year, he would definitely go home, and she never dared to imagine going with him. And now he had said it. Cole's smile turned tender. He let go and cupped her smooth cheeks with both hands, gently brushing away the tear stains. The undisguised ache and affection in his eyes made Luna unable to hold back any longer. Her lips trembled, and she threw herself into his arms. "Stop! Stop!" Cole's jacket was unzipped, so just as he had done with Serena, he wrapped it around the person in his arms, giving her a safe space to vent her fear. Sure enough, once she was enveloped, her suppressed sobs grew louder, and her hands tightened around his waist. Passing students cast strange glances at them. The girls looked on with a bit of envy. "So you can cry like that. It looks so comforting. I should try that next time. Oh wait, I'm still single." The boys' gazes were a mix of envy and suspicion. Could it be? That girl only has great legs, but her face is too hideous to be seen. Just then, the sobs turned to whimpers. Luna lifted her head, her tear-filled eyes wide. "Brother, is it true? If you doubt me again, I'm spanking you," Cole said, rubbing his nose against hers. He had been considering this for a while. On his way over, he had decided it was a must. He couldn't possibly leave her alone at school, knowing she had nowhere to go. The blackened, cynical Cole couldn't bring himself to do it. If this were some woman he'd met in his later years, it would be different. She could go wherever she wanted. But Lou was different. Even though the risk of a total catastrophe was high, he had to do this. Maybe she wouldn't mind, but his attitude in this mattered. A lot. Luna didn't speak, just stared deeply at the person in front of her, her heart filled with an immense sense of security. The passing boys blinked, a sudden, unbearable pain striking their hearts. So, she not only had great legs, but a great face too. My heart hurts. I'm a little scared, Luna said, suddenly remembering she would be meeting Cole's parents. What if they didn't like her? Don't be. I'm here. Your future in-laws are really nice people, Cole said, defining the relationship right then and there. He felt a slight pang of guilt. If everything went smoothly, they would be the future in-laws for two people. But for someone aspiring to be the king of greed, that guilt lasted only a moment. The little angel on his shoulder screamed, "Shameless." The little devil plugged its ears. What was that? Okay. Although Luna was still apprehensive, with Cole there, she felt grounded. At night, you'll sleep with Director Yang. During the day, you'll be with me. Director Yang is my sister, you know that, Cole added. Sleeping together was out of the question. Okay, I know. Luna blinked. She had also wondered about the sleeping arrangements. It wouldn't be right to sleep with Cole at his family's house. They weren't married. What if his parents thought less of her? Director Yang was very nice. Sleeping with her would be fine. Cole leaned down and gave her a series of kisses, cleaning the tear stains from her face. A little salty, but still delicious. Luna's face, pale from crying, turned red again, but she kept her face tilted up, letting his kisses replace her tears. They walked together for a while longer, holding each other, as Cole told her about the customs and culture of his hometown, Linden Creek. Then he walked her back to her dorm. On his way back to the office, Cole started thinking about the other urgent problems he needed to solve. First, he had to let Jasmine know about this, and Serena too. He needed a reasonable way to handle it. Second, he had to let his parents know. How they would all get along was a problem. After thinking it over, Cole gritted his teeth and called Jasmine first. A phone call was more direct and could convey tone better than a text. Hey Cole, what's up? Jasmine's voice came through, accompanied by the sound of a turning page. Hey sis, I need to run something by you. It's about our CFO, Luna. I told you about her before. How she doesn't have any family left. Her father passed away, her mother remarried, and her relatives are, well, let's just say they're trying to force her into a marriage. She has nowhere to go. She could stay on campus, but something's happened today. Some people with bad intentions have been harassing her. Cole explained the situation, then asked in a respectful, questioning tone, Sis, would it be okay to bring her to Linden Creek with us? She could sleep with you. After all, she's our company's CFO. We should show her some corporate care. The other end of the line went silent, and Cole's heart hung in the balance. He had to get past this hurdle. If Jasmine didn't agree, he'd have to find another way. Have you talked to her about it yet? Jasmine asked after a moment of silence. Not yet. I just chased off the guys harassing her. She was terrified, so I had her go upstairs with her roommates, Cole lied. He didn't dare say he'd already spoken to Luna. That would be acting first and reporting later, which would definitely upset Jasmine. But he was sure that, given Jasmine's character, she wouldn't go and check a story. He added, I wanted to run it by you first, sis. If you agree, then I'll suggest it to her. The line went quiet again. After several seconds, Jasmine said, All right, you can talk to her about it. Okay, I'll bring it up with her and see if she's willing, Cole said, trying his best to keep his voice steady, projecting an air of corporate concern. Inside, he was ecstatic. Cole felt a pang of guilt. He was exploiting Jasmine's kindness. But he had no choice. He really couldn't let Luna go. Sister, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. He admitted he was being shameless, but fate had brought him to this point, and he had to fight for it. Otherwise, both Serena and Luna could develop some serious emotional scars, and the karmic weight of that was too great. It could even lead to something terrible. The purer a person is, the more likely they are to choose a pure, tragic path. He had started out just wanting to have some fun, but he slowly realized he was in too deep, anchored by 3 hearts. In his past life, he couldn't find even one true love. Now he had 3 flavors to choose from. How could he not be content? This was a high-stakes robbery, a mountain of treasure, and he was going for it. The ancient sages said a good man's ambition is 3 wives. He, Cole Chun, though unworthy, wished to emulate the sages. Next, he had to let Serena know. If the CFO suddenly showed up at his house, she would definitely overthink it. Although Serena was a proud little princess, she was also reasonable. Cole dialed her number. Cole, babe, can I run something by you? Of course, what is it? It's about our company's CFO, Luna. Her father passed away in an accident when she was little. Cole repeated the story, embellishing it to make Luna's upbringing sound as difficult as possible. What? It's that bad? I thought her family was well off, Serena said, surprised. Cole had never told her this. She had seen Luna's nice clothes and assumed she came from a good family. Now she realized it was probably her salary from Headline Today that had paid for them. Yes, very difficult. She has nowhere to go for the holidays, so I was thinking of bringing her back to Linden Creek. She can stay with Jasmine and spend New Year's with us, so she can feel the company's care. The main thing is someone was harassing her today, which is what gave me the idea. Who was harassing her? A theater club, a ballroom dancing club, even a fitness club. All sorts of people. Some guys with bad intentions are all after her, said Cole, the ultimate guy with bad intentions without a shred of shame. I hate people like that, Serena said. She knew the feeling all too well and despised it. Okay then, but she has to sleep with Jasmine, okay? Of course. Cole rejoiced internally. Another one down. Cole, I might not be able to stay with you during the break. The Law Society has a winter activity, a recruitment event at my old high school. Serena's voice was laced with frustration and complaint. I don't want to stay in a Law Society at all, but with Professor Chun and my mom. I have to humor them. Cole, you can't be mad at me. I get it, and I understand, babe. We have our whole lives ahead of us. We'll have plenty of time together. I just feel bad that you have to work so hard, Cole said sincerely. With a family like hers, if she had been a slacker, they wouldn't have had any expectations. But because she was responsible and obedient, the pressure from her family was immense, suppressing her true nature. The weight on her must be incredible. In contrast, Cole had never carried such a burden. His parents had tried to pressure him, but they hadn't succeeded. Cole, you're the best, Serena said in a sweet, bright voice. Best at what? Cole asked cheekily. The best kind of bad, Serena replied after a moment's thought. Cole grinned, remembering the movie. Hey, you still owe me a movie night. You want to talk? Last time you tricked me into going, and then you did that to me. Did what? Did you like it? I'm not telling you. So, do you still want to go to the movies with me? Yes. They chatted for a long time, ending the call with a few kisses into the phone. Cole let out a sigh of relief. 2 major hurdles cleared. But there was still one more, his parents. They had bottomless trust in Jasmine, and he was afraid that if they sensed something, their attitude toward Luna might subtly change. Cole checked the time. His mom was probably free, so he called her. What's the special occasion? You actually thought to call me. Helen Chen's voice was laced with sarcasm. Mom, I miss you. Cole chuckled. TCH, I don't believe a word of it. Mom, I really do. Cole continued to sweet-talk her. It usually worked. All right, cut the crap. What is it? Need money? No, it's just, there's this thing. Explaining this to his mother was going to be difficult. After he had laid it all out, the other end of the line went silent. Mom, are you there? I'm here. So, what you're saying is, you started a company, you have 20 or 30 employees, your sister is your administrative director, you also have a CFO, and a classmate as your legal counsel. And you? Yeah, Mom. I need to talk to your sister first. Okay. His mom's reaction was expected. The whole situation was so out of the ordinary. It would be strange if she believed him so easily. It was over an hour before she called back. She must have had a class. Cole was already eating lunch in the dining hall when the call came. Son, you really started a company? Yes, Mom. Why don't you believe me? I'm hurt. Son, it's not that I don't believe you. It's that no one would believe it. Son, about what you asked, Mom agrees. We'll talk about the rest when you get home. Mom, you're the best. However, there are some things I need to tell you up front. You are not to hurt your sister. If you do, I will disown you. Don't worry, Mom. I won't. You'd better not. Son, your sister is very smart. She's the smartest one in our 2 families. Do you understand? I understand. I hope you really do. We've all seen how good your sister is to you. You're grown up now, and we can't control you, but I hope you understand that some people, once you lose them, you will regret it for the rest of your life. I know what you mean, Mom. Cole felt a bead of sweat. What he was doing now was walking a tightrope, trying to get away with it. If he could just get through this initial period, it would be smooth sailing later. He was surprised his mother was speaking so profoundly. It was as if she already suspected his intentions. Or perhaps she was just worried he would do something to hurt Jasmine. Sorry, Mom. Your son wants to be greedy this one time. As long as you understand. So, Luna, right? She's had a tough time, Si. Bring her home. Let her sleep with your sister. But I have one condition. Your sister cannot be hurt in any way. I know, Mom. After hanging up, Cole thought for a long time. Just because they had all agreed didn't mean he was safe. Cole had to be on his best behavior, not showing too much affection to any one of them. If he was found out, it would be a disaster. But finding that balance would be incredibly difficult. This New Year's was going to be a serious challenge. Not long after he returned to the Headline Today office, Holly from the student government came to visit. The Student Activities Board had decided to do a feature series called Practice Makes Perfect, an entrepreneurial interview, and after some deliberation, they had set their sights on the recently trending headline today. Holly, from the news division, was assigned the task. In the small conference room, as Holly explained her purpose, Cole was secretly ecstatic. He had just failed his classes, and now he was getting an interview. For a good student like him, who had let his grades slip due to practical entrepreneurial pursuits, shouldn't the university cut him some slack when it came to graduation requirements? At Eastwood, not having enough credits was a terrifying prospect. The university showed no mercy. Unless one interview wouldn't change anything, but at least there was hope. Cole, where would you like to do the interview? Holly asked with a smile. Her cream-colored down jacket was unzipped, revealing a black turtleneck sweater underneath that was stretched taut over her ample chest. If Cole didn't already have his own large granaries to tend to, his eyes would have been glued to her. Anywhere is fine, Holly. Whatever you prefer, Cole said, a little excited at the prospect of saving his GPA. Then let's do it in 2 parts. One downstairs in front of the Venture Lab, and one upstairs in your office, Holly said, a strange light dancing in her eyes, which were accentuated with a touch of eyeshadow. She was 100 times curious about this underclassman. The tea shop was one thing. That was already a successful venture. But the rise of Headline Today was truly unexpected. The student government had discussed it at length. While Headline Today was interesting, it couldn't compare to major web portals. In an internet dominated by giants, it couldn't make significant waves and would likely become the next face power. Moreover, it seemed to be a money pit with no clear path to profitability. The consensus was that Cole was just relying on family money to keep it afloat. Although the Student Activities Board hadn't made an official statement, the student government speculated that they weren't optimistic about its chances either. But now, Headline Today was starting to turn a profit. It was attracting more and more businesses, with all sorts of advertisers knocking on their door. The number of visit requests had been piling up for days. Whether it could survive in the long run was a question for the future. But for now, its influence was undeniable for a student startup, and it had created quite a few jobs. The pay was rumored to be good, but no one knew the exact numbers. This was why the Student Activities Board was now paying attention. Of course, Cole readily agreed. For an interview this important, he'd run laps around the building if she asked. All right, let's start downstairs then, Holly said with a smile. The slight upturn of her lips, combined with the perfect amount of mirth in her eyes, gave her a rather bewitching look. Okay, Holly. The two of them, plus a cameraman, it was the same guy from the tea shop interview, whose looks were still unimportant, went downstairs and stood in front of the Venture Lab sign. Holly, holding a list of questions, began the interview. Cole, what was your motivation for starting Headline Today? Before I even came to Eastwood, I was deeply moved by its enterprising spirit. After arriving, I was inspired by the university's 3 core tenets: innovation, exploration, and practice, and I had the idea to start a business to apply what I've learned to a practical venture. With the support of the Student Activities Board and the help of the Venture Lab management, I was able to rent an office and create Headline Today, Cole said with great sincerity, looking like a Boy Scout. Cole, have you encountered any difficulties or interesting things during your entrepreneurial journey? Holly chuckled, thinking you're quite the actor, kid. Of course, there have been difficulties. It's all about how you face them. You have to maintain a positive attitude and think about the alumni who have graduated from Eastwood. Compared to the challenges they faced, mine are nothing. Holly's smile didn't waver, but she was groaning internally. Can you please stop sucking up? Cole, what is your philosophy on life? To be optimistic, positive, enterprising, and courageous. The spirit of Eastwood is my philosophy on life, Cole declared with a solemn expression, his eyes shining with firm resolve. Ugh, this kid was impenetrable. Holly sighed. She had wanted to embellish his quotes to make him look good and curry some favor. Now it seemed she could use his answers verbatim. The Student Activities Board would probably nod in approval and declare him a model student. Cole, have you met anyone who shares your vision during this process? Perhaps someone you'd want to spend the rest of your life with. Of course. Cole smiled. Holly's spirits lifted, then fell again. So he had a girlfriend. I've met all the upperclassmen at Headline Today. We discussed the future of the company together, how to better serve our fellow students. We're always on the same page. I hope that they can walk with Headline Today, and with me, toward a bright future. As Cole got more animated, He even made a fist and pumped it in the air. Holly felt deflated. Okay, this guy was a pro. Everything he said was calculated and diplomatic. He should have gone into politics. They went upstairs. As they toured the office, she asked a few more questions, all of which he answered flawlessly. After the interview, Holly, her makeup making her look even more alluring, blinked her eyes. Aren't you going to buy me dinner, Cole? I have a few more questions I'd like to ask you. Of course I'll treat you to dinner. Here, take my meal card. You and the cameraman can go to the dining hall, order whatever you want. You can max it out, Cole said with a hearty laugh, generously offering his card. No need, I was just kidding. Maybe next time, Cole. If there's a chance after the break, you can treat me to a private dinner. It would be a nice thank you for writing 2 articles about you, Holly said, her eyes flashing. As she pushed his hand back, she purposefully grabbed it. Little brother, can you withstand my 20 years of expertise? For her, a capable young man like him was a rare find. Definitely prime, boyfriend material. The cameraman standing nearby shot Holly a resentful look. If you don't want it, I do. Why did you have to push it back? No problem, Holly. Cole agreed instantly. It was a problem for after the break. Right now is not an option. If he went to dinner with this journalist today, the whole school would know by tomorrow, and she would probably write an article about it. The untold stories of Headline Today's founder. She could easily absolve herself of any wrongdoing, painting a picture where he was infatuated with her, but she had gracefully declined. Cole, on the other hand, would have a much harder time explaining himself. A guy taking a beautiful, charming, and well-endowed woman out to dinner with no ulterior motives? Who would believe that? Holly, the student journalist, was someone to be kept at arm's length. If one of his 3 guardian angels had been with him, Cole might have braved an interview. But going alone was out of the question. At this stage, he had to protect himself. That evening, the article, Practice Makes Perfect, an entrepreneurial interview with the founder of Headline Today, went live. It was posted on the Eastwood University homepage and pinned to the Student Activities Board's digital bulletin. This time, it included a photo. Unfortunately, this kind of article was only ever read by the hyper-ambitious students, the ones gunning for summa cum laude and a Rhodes Scholarship, or maybe would get name-dropped in some leadership seminar. Still, it had its benefits. This was an official stamp of approval from the university. On Cole's instruction, Fiona screenshotted the article from the university website and posted it on Headline Today. He had to remove the photo, though. It was enough for the user base to know that Headline Today was a legit, university-recognized platform. He preferred to keep a low profile himself. He didn't want to get stopped on campus by classmates offering unsolicited advice. Or worse, the users whose lewd memes got rejected by the moderation team might corner him, demanding he loosen the content filters. The most terrifying scenario? Walking down the campus green and being swarmed by a legion of girls with long legs and chests that defied gravity. Chasing him, screaming for his autograph, for a selfie, for a hug. It's Cole Chunt. Cole, I love you. Cole, you're so hot. What would he even do? No, it was better that no one knew his face. Not until he graduated and was long gone. He refused to be like the founder of Alibaba, who documented his entire journey from the beginning, letting carefully selected photos leak every now and then to inspire his followers and remind the world of his humble, grinded-out origins. Cole preferred the style of the founder of ByteDance, utterly discreet. Even a titan like Steve Jobs only had a few photos from his garage days floating around. Cole's empire wasn't on that level yet, but he could at least adopt the same quiet confidence. By the end of January, Eastwood University had emptied out for winter break. Students lugged overstuffed suitcases and duffel bags toward home, but a good number had also applied to stay on campus. The dining halls kept a skeleton crew on duty. Rumor was they served a free dinner on New Year's Eve and a meal on New Year's Day. During the break, various student clubs organized activities, volunteering downtown, taking members on educational trips to tech companies or museums, shoveling snow for the elderly. It sometimes led to retirement homes being hilariously overstaffed, with 3 different university clubs showing up to care for the lonely all at once. But it was admittedly a good character-building experience for the students. Cole wasn't a member of any club. He didn't have to go anywhere. His only duty was to watch over Headline Today and the Tea Alchemist. He had done the volunteer thing once in his past life. The memory still baffled him. The literary society at his mediocre college had gone on a research trip. Their subject? A massive, green, plastic slide at a public park. The kind adults could use. A dozen students stood there, staring at it for half an hour, before being instructed to write an essay on the slide's societal impact. He never figured out what insights they were supposed to glean, but they all died laughing about it afterward. Serena was on break, too. She had to go home, then visit her alma mater, Linden Creek High, to give a presentation about the Eastwood Law Program. She also had to visit her maternal grandfather. The night before she left, she and Cole huddled under the covers for one last private tutoring session. The lesson plan consisted entirely of him worshiping his prize piglet and her two perfect alabaster roses. It was a long, torturous night of study, so much so that the next morning, her cartoon bear pajamas were still damp. When Serena left, Cole could only watch from a distance. He couldn't see her off. The car sent to pick her up was a Mercedes S600, the fully loaded luxury model. It was dispatched by her paternal grandfather. That settled it for Cole. Serena's grandfather wasn't in politics. No public servant would drive a car that ostentatious, which meant Serena's father, David Shunn, had chosen a life of civil service on his own. For a moment, Cole felt the crushing weight of the gap between them. He made a silent vow. Just you wait. Serena was his. He just had to work harder. She waved at him through the rear windshield, her expression a mixture of longing and reluctance. He mirrored her sad smile, watching until the car's taillights vanished around the corner. Back at the Headline Today office, Cole arranged the holiday schedule. Jasmine had already collected everyone's vacation requests. A dozen employees needed to leave early. The Tea Alchemist's revenue would plummet during the holidays anyway. The town wasn't bustling like it would be in later years. After consulting with Jasmine, they decided to close both businesses for the 3 days leading up to the Lunar New Year, reopening a week after. Perhaps because he was bringing Luna back to Linden Creek with him, Jasmine had been giving him the cold shoulder for days. She spoke to him only about work, nothing else. Cole didn't press the issue or offer an effusive apology. It wasn't that he was being difficult. It was time to manage the situation. When a woman was emotional, you couldn't just coddle her and sue for peace. You had to apply pressure, then release it. A man had to keep at least a fifth of his mind in a state of cool detachment, ready to adjust the dynamic at the right moment. By skillfully guiding her emotions up and down, making her feel a mix of pain and pleasure, the walls around her heart would become illusory. The joy that followed the pain would create a deeper dependency. She would sink further and further until she could no longer escape. Jasmine was already the type who wouldn't want to escape, so Cole didn't have to be too deliberate. Just a little adjustment. He had to make her feel a slight tension, while also subtly reminding her of his bottomless affection for her. This wasn't a lack of love. On the contrary, it was because he loved her that he needed to manage their bond with a cool head, to make it more flavorful, more enduring. The new, darker Cole never let his emotions dictate his actions. He only focused on the outcome. Had he ever seen anyone who threw their whole heart in, no hold barred, come to a good end? This version of him had never said the words, "I love you," or "I like you" to a woman. Not unless she said it first, and then he would only echo the sentiment to play along. Love was sometimes a game of human nature. The moment "I love you" left your lips, you surrendered the initiative. If you were with someone who didn't cherish that, they would climb on top of you and stomp you into the ground. You'd find their moods harder and harder to placate, until finally, everything shattered. This was especially true for the pure love guys, who thought a successful confession meant they'd conquered the girl. In reality, the girl was often just enjoying the chase. She'd accept the next guy just as easily. The whole process was tasteless to her. The essence of love was dopamine, and those 3 little words didn't produce it. Mouths were for kissing. Hands were for touching. That's where you found the dopamine. In the future, the words, "I love you" would have a net negative impact. Financial support worked, but that was a bottomless pit. So what was the solution? Go straight for the physical. Seize the initiative. It was a habit Cole had no intention of changing. He never said, "I love you," or "I like you" to any of the 3. He didn't say it, but he showed it. The effect was far more powerful. For days, he sent no messages. He didn't ask if she wanted to travel home together. He waited patiently. Eastwood Tech, the library. Jasmine picked up her phone, hesitated, and put it back down. She stared at a book for a while before the silent screen lit up. Jasmine snatched the phone and unlocked it. Her face fell in disappointment. It was a message from Alex, who had left for home that morning. "Alex, hey, 10 minutes from my house." Jasmine, "Okay, be safe. Text me when you're inside." After sending the reply, Jasmine stared at the contact name in her phone, Bad Little Brother. She fell into a daze. Her finger hovered over the text box, then retreated. Her expression was a knot of conflict, her bright eyes flashing with a mix of resentment and indignation. The rest was pure, concentrated longing. "You jerk. Bastard. You're ignoring me. You won't text me. I hate you. What are you even doing? You don't miss me at all, do you? Fine. Don't miss me. See if I ever talk to you again." Jasmine put her phone down and forced herself to read, but the words swam before her eyes. The library was quiet, emptier than usual. Every time her screen lit up, she would grab the phone with breathless anticipation, only to put it back down in disappointment. Over and over, her face grew clouded and listless, her expression so cold that two guys who had been thinking of sitting at her table were scared away. Is he with Luna? Is he tired of me? If not, why is he ignoring me? The winter break was supposed to be their world. When both sets of parents were out visiting relatives, she and her little brother could sleep together, bite each other, and now, there was someone else. How were they supposed to sleep together now? So annoying. That monster doesn't care about me at all. Fine, don't text me. We'll see who talks to who when we get home. That evening, Jasmine ate a tasteless meal in the cafeteria. She wanted to text him, but her pride wouldn't let her. She returned to her empty dorm room and lay on her bed, listlessly flipping through a book. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. She opened Facebook Messenger, ready to break the silence. She had just typed out, "The tickets are hard to get. We should go to the state capitol first," when a message from him popped up. "Cole, sis, can you arrange the company dinner for tomorrow night? My head is killing me. I'm going to lie down for a bit." The moment she saw the message, all of Jasmine's resentment melted away, replaced by a wave of concern and heartache. The last shred of her pride vanished. "Jasmine, Cole, are you sick? Do you have a cold?" She waited. No reply. A knot of anxiety tightened in her stomach. He never got headaches. Was it a fever? Or was he just overwhelmed by stress? It made sense. Juggling so many things, responsible for so many people's salaries, the pressure must be immense. Had she been too selfish? She quickly dialed his number. It rang a few times before he picked up. "Cole, where are you? Do you have a fever?" she asked, her voice tight with worry. "Sis, I'm fine. Just need to rest in the dorm for a bit. Can you handle a dinner for me? I need to sleep. My head is splitting." Cole's weak voice crackled over the line. Jasmine's heart clenched. "Stay put. I'm coming over right now." "Sis, you don't have to. I'm fine. Just remember to arrange the dinner." Jasmine hung up, threw a few things in her bag, and ran out of her dorm. A moment later, she ran back in, grabbed a thermometer from a box on her desk, and sprinted down the stairs. Meanwhile, Cole was lounging on his dorm bed, one leg crossed over the other, swinging it idly. He'd bet his life savings she'd come running. Now all he had to do was put on a convincing performance of a man in agony. Got her. His three roommates had already gone home. Estimating her arrival time, Cole hopped off the bed, grabbed a bucket, and filled it with steaming hot water from the communal dispenser. After adding a splash of cold water, he started soaking his feet. It was so hot he hissed through his teeth. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and his face flushed red. Just as he was starting to enjoy it, he heard the sound of small boots rapidly climbing the stairs. The dorm was so quiet that the sound from 2 doors down was crystal clear. It had to be Jasmine. Cole pulled his feet out of the water, quickly hid the bucket on the small balcony, and wiped his feet with a dirty long-sleeved shirt lying on the floor. He scrambled onto his bed, pulled the covers up, and closed his eyes, feigning a deep, pained sleep. A moment later, the boots clattered into his room. "Cole, how are you?" Jasmine rushed to his bedside and pressed a hand to his forehead. "Oh my God, you're burning up. Your face is all red. We should go to the campus clinic. MMM. Cole groggily opened his eyes and saw her beautiful, worried face. "Sis," he said weakly, "what are you doing here?" A small pang of guilt pricked him, but it was necessary. This was the ladder he was offering her. If he had asked her to come directly, she would have been too proud. But if he was sick, she would come without hesitation. A girl's stubbornness crumbles when given a justifiable reason. This was a tactic that only worked on Jasmine. If it were some other girl from his future, she'd probably hope he'd just drop dead. Her take care of him? Dream on. She'd rather play another round of Candy Crush. Of course, not all girls were like that, but a good majority were. With his luck, if he said he was sick, she'd just use the opportunity to go out on a date while he was indisposed. "You're sick, of course I'd come," Jasmine said, shooting him a glare, but her eyes were filled with worry. "I'm fine, sis. I'll be okay after some sleep." Cole's eyes were half closed, but his heart stirred. The girl by his bed. She was the one who should grow old and die with him. "Where's your water card? I'll go get you some hot water." Jasmine didn't see it on his desk. "Don't worry about it, sis. I have some in my cup." Just as he said it, Jasmine spotted it. "This isn't enough. I'll get some more and make a hot compress for you." A hot compress on the forehead was the traditional Linden Creek cure for any headache or cold. It didn't matter what caused it. The solution was always the same: compress. She walked toward the small balcony and spotted the bucket of water, still steaming. She dipped a finger in. It was still hot. "Cole, did you get this water?" "Yes, sis. I was going to take a quick shower. Cole had a bad feeling, but he couldn't admit he'd used it for a foot bath. With Jasmine's intelligence, she'd figure out his flushed face was from the hot water. Which one is your towel? Jasmine called out. Towel. There's only one hanging there. That's mine, Cole said through gritted teeth, his eyes blinking furiously. No way, sis. What are you about to do? Then he heard the sound of the towel hitting the water. The water's still pretty hot. This should work, Jasmine said as she wrung out the towel. She walked back into the room. Hurry, a hot compress will make your head feel better. A compress? Cole's eye twitched. With the water, I just soak my feet in. Sis, maybe we shouldn't. Hurry up, before it gets cold. Jasmine insisted. She stood on her tiptoes, pressed the warm, damp cloth onto Cole's face, and then folded it to lay across his forehead. Is that better? A little. Better. Cole sighed internally. It's just my own foot water. It's probably fine, right? Ugh. Next time I have to come up with a better excuse. But then again, this wasn't so bad. It would make his forehead genuinely warm. Heh, perfect. Cole, I brought a thermometer. We need to check. If you have a high fever, we have to go to the clinic. Jasmine pulled the thermometer from her bag. A thermometer? Cole was both stumped and mortified. The jig was up. How was he going to explain this one? Here, stick this under your arm. Hold it tight, or it won't be accurate. Jasmine took the plastic cap off the thermometer and handed it to Cole. If she could have reached, she would have shoved it under his arm herself. Sis, I don't think we need to. It's probably just a low-grade fever, Cole said, maintaining his weak and helpless facade, though his heart was hammering. How could he dare? A thermometer would expose the whole charade. You never listen. Jasmine's pretty face hardened. She retracted her hand and began to take off her boots. This made Cole anxious. She's really going to force the issue. In a moment, Jasmine had climbed the ladder to his bunk, making the bed frame creak and groan. Thankfully, it was sturdy enough for two. She knelt on the mattress, lifted Cole's right arm with one hand, and with the other, slipped the thermometer under his long-sleeved shirt. Once she was sure it was snug in his armpit, she lowered his arm. Hold it there. Cole was on the verge of tears, but he clamped his arm down, praying for a miracle. A reading of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Anything less, and the consequences would be dire. The entire dorm building was silent, save for the occasional mumble of students passing by downstairs. The few who remained on campus were either asleep or at an internet cafe. Jasmine, apparently finding kneeling uncomfortable, lay down on her side, pressed against him. Then, thinking she might be making him uncomfortable by lying on top of the comforter, she sat up, lifted the covers, and slid in beside him. The poor single mattress now bore the weight of two people. It was so narrow they were pressed tightly together. Her clean, floral scent filled his nostrils. In spite of himself, a few stray thoughts flickered through Cole's mind. He bit his tongue, trying to inch away and maintain his composure, lest he be discovered immediately. What's wrong? You're disgusted by me. Jasmine glared at him. She bent one leg and draped it over his. No. How could I be? I was just trying to make some room for you. Cole quickly explained, his weak face contorting into a pained grimace. Jasmine felt the towel on his forehead. It was still warm. Cole suffered in silence, determined to see his act through to the end. After about 5 minutes, Jasmine reached under his arm and retrieved the thermometer. She sat up, gave it a shake, and held it up to the light, turning it until she found the thin line of mercury. After a few seconds, her expression turned to one of confusion. 99, 3 degrees Fahrenheit. That wasn't a fever, which meant this bastard was faking. But no fever was a good thing. She glanced at her brother's face and asked flatly, Does your head hurt a lot? A little bit, Cole said, eyes still closed, choosing his words carefully. It's possible to have a headache without a fever, right? He had barely finished the thought when a sharp pain shot through his arm. Hiss, I'll give you one chance to come clean. Jasmine pinched the skin on his arm and twisted just slightly. This bastard never got headaches. He hadn't had a single cold since elementary school. If there was no fever, he was definitely acting. He had almost fooled her. Come clean about what, sis? My head really does hurt, Cole insisted, deciding to deny it to his dying breath. Turn over. Look at me, Jasmine commanded. She propped herself up on her right elbow, her palm cupping her head. Cole had no choice but to turn onto his side. They were face to face, one high, one low. He could smell the sweet scent of her breath. Are you sick or not? Tell me the truth, and I won't be mad. Jasmine stared at him for a few seconds, her expression suddenly softening, her voice turning gentle. But her eyes were silently cataloging his every micro-expression. In her heart, she already knew he was faking, but she needed to hear him say it. His attitude in confessing was what mattered. Cole wasn't about to admit it directly. He decided to play dirty. He moved closer until their lips were almost touching. In a low, husky voice, he said, "I just missed you." Hearing this, Jasmine stared at him, momentarily stunned. Cole gazed back at her, his eyes deep and sincere. They looked at each other like that for a long time, each clearly reflected in the other's eyes. After a long moment, Jasmine buried her face in his shoulder and gave him a gentle bite, her tone tinged with mock anger. "If you miss me, why didn't you just say so? Why did you have to act? You're not a child anymore." "What do you mean, again?" "Like I've ever acted before. Am I right? You've never acted. Not once in your entire life." "I really haven't, you little liar. I can't even be bothered to call you out on it." They kept talking, their conversation filled with what sounded like nonsense, but it seemed as if they could go on forever. Much later, Jasmine's down jacket and pants were folded in a corner of the bed. The long night didn't feel long at all. When he woke up in the morning, Cole's nose was a little runny. He had actually caught a bit of a cold. His mattress didn't have a pad, and worried that Jasmine would be uncomfortable, he had folded a third of his comforter under her. As a result, he hadn't had enough to cover himself. They had been busy until late last night, talking for hours. The person in his arms was still asleep. The scent of her hair and her soft breathing filled the space under the covers. A girl who was clean and healthy didn't have bad breath in the morning. Cole knew this from experience, from all the times they'd slept together before. Now, there were two more equally clean girls in his life. Life was good. In his past life, you wouldn't dare face your partner in the morning. The risk of suffocation was too high. After another hour or so, Jasmine woke up. The first thing she did was check the bite mark on Cole's shoulder. She touched it twice, then a satisfied smile spread across her face. It was better that he wasn't sick. It was okay that he had tricked her a little. It was even okay that Luna was coming to their house for the break. The one thing that was not okay was her brother not missing her, and not letting her bite him. Even more unacceptable. Jasmine murmured lazily, "Cole, after the dinner tonight, have Luna pack her clothes. Just a few changes is enough. She doesn't need to bring anything else." "Got it, sis." Cole's heart settled. After their talk last night, he could feel that Jasmine had let go of her resentment. The price was a few sore spots on his body. Suddenly, "You're playing with fire," Cole warned with a stern face. "Oomph. You're not allowed." Jasmine nibbled on his shoulder, her cheeks flushing crimson. The warm cocoon of the bed was the perfect place for stray thoughts. "Cole, we should get up." Though the top beauty of Eastwood Tech said this, her hands held him tight. That morning, a physically and emotionally satisfied Jasmine personally went to invite Luna to their hometown. Cole and Yvonne arranged the evening's dinner. They decided on the Caspian Grill and Buffet. The company was too new for a formal end-of-year party. Everyone from Headline Today and the Tea Alchemist, who hadn't already left for home, was invited to eat together. They also invited Tanya, the girl from the Venture Lab who was staying on campus, and Jessica, the vice president of the student government, who also hadn't gone home yet. Most of the Headline Today staff knew her, as she had recommended many of them for their jobs. The holiday break would officially start the next day. The following afternoon, Cole pushed a large, new suitcase filled with Jasmine and Luna's clothes as he led the two girls home. Cole carried his own backpack, stuffed with his laptop and underwear. The three of them took a cab to the Rockford high-speed rail station. They hadn't managed to get second-class tickets, but they'd luckily snagged 3 first-class seats on a direct train to their city. It was more expensive, but at least they were going home. The train station was a sea of people. It was teeming with all sorts. Some looked like normal travelers, but were actually watching your bags and pockets. Whenever someone got too close and then pretended to be on the phone without moving away, Cole paid extra attention. The two girls weren't naive either. Their gazes were constantly vigilant. In an era before Gen Z had fully come into its own, a nearly 6-foot-tall guy leading two girls who were both 5'7" and drop-dead gorgeous. The effect was like a panda wandering into a crowd of pigeons. From the ticket counter to the waiting area, wherever they went, they were like magnets, pulling the eyes of everyone around them. One man marveled, "Wow, those two girls are off the charts beautiful." The woman next to him chuckled. "It just means that boy is something special." The man looked skeptical, a hint of disdain in his expression. "He looks average to me, not especially handsome." The woman let out another soft laugh. "He's either got money, or he's got serious game. You have neither, yet you're still so proud." The man was even more indignant. "I know how to make flatbreads and biscuits. Isn't that a skill?" The woman just sighed and shook her head, saying no more. Her eyes remained fixed on the boy, watching him with keen interest. Cole felt as if he were surrounded by daggers of jealousy, completely unaware that someone was coolly assessing his strength. They waited for nearly an hour before boarding. The first-class cabin had 2 seats on each side of the aisle. Cole had the 2 girls sit together while he took the seat across the aisle. Once they arrived in the city, they hired a car to take them the rest of the way home. The closer they got to Cole's house, the more nervous Luna became. She wanted to hold Cole's hand, but she was too shy to do it in front of Jasmine. "Don't worry, my mom's really nice. You can call her Auntie or Ms. Chun," Cole said with a smile. He was confident the little lamb wouldn't throw herself into his arms, so he'd have to find a chance to comfort her in secret later. "Okay." Luna bit her lip and glanced at Cole, who gave her a look full of warmth and encouragement. Her anxiety eased slightly. As long as Cole was there, she wouldn't be afraid. "Luna, relax. My godmother and godfather are great people, and so are my parents. Just treat it like your own home," Jasmine added reassuringly. She normally wouldn't be so generous, but the previous night's satisfying bite had dispelled all her frustrations. By the time they reached the millworks, it was almost dinner time. The smell of stir-frying vegetables wafted down the hallway. Cole knocked on the door. "Mom, I'm home. Godmother." The door swung open to reveal Helen, Chin's delighted face. "My dear girl. My boy. Was the trip okay? Oh, and this must be Luna. Come in, come in." Though the siblings arrived together, the order of her greetings revealed their respective places in her heart. "Hello, Annie," Luna said timidly, her expression tense. "Hello, Luna. Please sit down. Dinner will be ready in a minute." Helen beamed, giving her son plenty of face. "Lou, just make yourself at home," Cole said, a subtle double meaning in his words. Luna couldn't help but glance at him shyly. Thankfully, Jasmine had already walked ahead to pour some hot water. "Sis, why don't you give Lou a tour of the headline today, CEO's bedroom?" Cole, ever the sly strategist, suggested to Jasmine. Entrusting her with this task was a surefire way to make her feel secure and act magnanimously. He was certain his sister wouldn't mention that they'd slept in that room together since they were kids, practically nursing at the same time. "Okay, sure." Jasmine readily agreed and led Luna to her brother's room. After putting the luggage down, Cole went into the kitchen. "Mom, you've worked hard." Helen Chin glanced at her son, her eyes holding a trace of reproach. "You just got lucky. You could have easily become a gambler, and you didn't tell us about such a huge thing." She sighed. Her boy really had grown up. "Mom, I had a dream that I won, so I just tried it out," Cole said with a grin. "Son, don't touch that stuff again. Luck won't always be on your side," Helen said, her expression tinged with worry. Card games and mahjong were rampant in Linden Creek. Some people couldn't go a day without playing. She was terrified her son would get addicted to sports betting and fall into a gambling den. "I know, Mom.